The following is an EHC media production.
Hey, this is Daniel Crimmins, host of SmackDown and Out. Join me every week where I will discuss everything related to SmackDown Live. Rumors, stories, and even a recap of each episode. Join me every week right here on the RWT page.
Hi everyone, Ibeza here, and just want to let you know about my two YouTube channels that you might like. First, I have a WWE related channel. I play WWE games, I talk about WWE, the real product and all that sort of stuff. And the other channel, I just play a wider variety of games. The links are in the description of this video, so please head on over and check me out. Thanks very much.
What's going on, RWT family? This is Mike Larkin, the host of The Future Is Now, and welcome to episode 6. Pretty solid week of action in regards to 205 Live and NXT. God dang, Tommaso Ciampa is amazing heel, the perfect heel, as my boy Daz would say. Man, just incredible action. I gotta say, both shows were kind of solid this week. Nothing, of merit. I mean, it enhanced a lot of angles, but alright. Without me rambling on and on and on to the break of dawn, let's start it off by talking about 205 Live. Alright, let's get into 205 Live this week. In advance, we found out now that at SummerSlam, it's great to see the Cruiserweight Championship being showed in prominence on a pay-per-view. We got Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight Championship. We saw the contract signing where Drew wanted to congratulate him on his undefeated 2018. He said that Cedric had a great moment at WrestleMania, but what has he done since? Cedric says he's defended the title against everyone. Drew asks where was Cedric when the title was not on the line. He was in the back while Drew was building his brand. Drew says that Cedric let everyone tire themselves out while he watched from the back, and he called Cedric the Brock Lesnar of 205 Live, which made me laugh. And then Cedric said that Drew has made sure that Brian Kendrick is in a world of hurt later on tonight. So I thought the whole thing, that it was a nice build. I mean, we've seen these guys wrestle many a times, and it's going to be a great match. And I'm going to say this right now before we get into the action that did happen on 205 Live. The match is Cedric and Leo. I think Leo is the one to take it off of him. I'd like to see Drew win the title because I think he's worked hard. I mean, he's come back from PowerPoint presentations to being a member of the Zoe Train, just to being Drew Gulak, the technical machine that he is, and just an overall tremendous character and a tremendous wrestler. So, in a way, I kind of want Gulak to win that title. Let's get into the first match. It was Kalisto and Tony Nese. It was fine for what it was. There was a very nice back and forth between the two. Buddy Murphy's in the back looking on at the monitor. These two just went back and forth. Nese with the gut buster, Kalisto with the lucha moves. Again, just back and forth roll-ups, the buckle bomb in the corner. The finish comes where Nese counters the Salida de la Sol into a roll-up, and then he does the turnbuckle bomb like I mentioned. Then Nese gets a near fall on that, and then Kalisto reverses it and hits the Salida de la Sol. The Salida del Sol, not the De La Sol, the Salida del Sol, the slice spread for the 1-2-3, Kalisto is your victor. But afterwards, we have a little cat and mouse game here as Buddy Murphy blocks Kalisto's exit up the ramp. Murphy pushes Kalisto down, and then he presses Kalisto over his head. Lince Dorado comes out with his hurt thumb to help Kalisto. Kalisto and Dorado with a double super kick on Murphy. And then looks like we're going to have a tag match on the horizon, which will be Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese against Kalisto and Lince Dorado. Then we had the aforementioned contract signing that I mentioned. Then we're back. Lio Rush comes out and says that some people are angry that he did not give Akira Tozawa a rematch. Lio says he's a hot commodity. He says he was very tempted at giving the former champion a rematch. It is just not fair because he already went out and found an opponent more qualified for the 23-year-old piece of gold. Lio says, you are what people call the real deal. Lio says he's heard a lot about his opponent. Lio says that he believes that he could put up a better fight than Akira Tozawa. Then we had Lio Rush versus Ricky Martinez. It was a squash. I mean, Ricky got a kick in on him. Lio Rush with a suicide dive. Just the quickness of Lio Rush was in tow here. Gives him the spinning round kick. Then he goes up for the frog splash. The final hour. 1, 2, 3. Lio Rush gets the victory over Ricky Martinez in less than a minute. Then Tozawa comes out. Tozawa's looking for a fight, but Lio Rush leaves the ring and says, nah, and then he just walks away. Gulak's in the locker room prepping Brian Kendrick up for his match against Cedric Alexander, and that brings us to the main event, which is Cedric and Brian Kendrick, which we've seen these guys wrestle numerous times. Cedric Alexander gets his arm worked over by Kendrick. A lot of people were chanting this is boring, but I thought this was, wrestling at its finest. Nice technical and just chain wrestling. Alexander hits the plancha. They go back and forth. Michinoku driver. The captain's hook. I like Gulak on commentary. Tap out, you punk. And it was really, really good. He goes for the sliced bread at the end, which he calls the Kendrick. But, Cedric reverses and hits the lumbar check for the 1, 2, 3. Cedric Alexander's your winner. But after the match, Gulak comes up and on the ring in the apron. We have a little stare down. Then Jack Gallagher comes from behind and hits the headbutt onto Cedric Alexander. And then Drew asks Cedric, what is the matter? And he points out that Cedric took his eye off the prize. Then Drake Maverick comes out and says, Drew, if you want to lose your title match, you better not touch Cedric. So, I thought it was fine for what it was. It's what it needed to be, and Drake Maverick showing the GM that he is. And personally, I cracked up as soon as Jack Gallagher did the headbutt, and he goes, oh, Jackie boy, the pipes are calling, which cracked me up. So Gulak is funny as an overall character, and he's just a badass. So I'm looking forward to Cedric and Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight Championship at SummerSlam. It was a solid show. It was what it needed to be. Lio Rush being the cocky himself. It would develop more storylines, and we're probably going to get Rush and Tozawa again. We're probably going to get Kalisto and Dorada Lucha House Party against Neeson and Buddy Murphy. That advanced. And we see more advancement with Cedric and Gulak and Cedric and Kendrick in their matchup. So, all in all, 205 Live was what it needed to be. Now, let's talk about tonight's NXT. Let's talk about NXT. We opened up with Otis Dozovic and Tucker Knight, Heavy Machinery against the Almighty, formerly TM61, Shane Thorne and Nick Miller, and they went at it right out the gate. There's a score to settle that needs to be with Heavy Machinery and the Almighty. It was just nice double team moves by the Almighty, tag team wrestling at its finest. There was a cannonball in the corner. Just TM61 doing what they do. Tucker Knight hit a beautiful drop kick and a double one-handed sidewalk slam. It was cool. It was a nice sequence and just showed the athleticism of Tucker and Otis doing his thing. They're in control, Shane Thorne and Nick Miller, when the Street Profits, their music plays, and then their crowd hyping them up, and they get distracted. And then Otis gets the tag, hits a backdrop on Thorne, followed by the compactor to Miller for the 1, 2, 3. And Otis Dozovic and Tucker Knight get a bit of revenge as Heavy Machinery gets the victory over the Almighty. Then afterwards, Nigel cannot believe what happened when Percy justifies the actions of the Street Profits. It's great dynamic between Nigel McGuinness and Percy Watson on commentary. Then we come back and we have another showcase match. It's Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, Mustache Mountain against Matt Knox and Bradley Taylor. This was the Tyler Bate and Trent Seven show. Knox and Taylor got a brief double team in, but this was just the standing shooting star press, the exploder, the dragon suplexes, the lariat. Seven and Tyler Bate were in sync with each other. The finish comes where Seven tags in, gets Taylor on his shoulders, and Bate hits the double knee strike off the turnbuckles, followed by a burning hammer for the 1-2-3. And Trent, Seven, Tyler Bate, Mustache Mountain are your victors. Seven says that they're back, and the last time that they were here, things did not go as they thought. Trent apologizes to everyone for what happened, including Tyler Bate. Then Trent says he spoke with Mr. Regal, and Mustache Mountain has a plan. Tyler Bate takes the microphone and says that the Undisputed Era went after them to get back their tag titles, and they tried to take out Trent. Tyler says he threw in the towel because Trent's well-being means the world to him. Tyler says that they're on a mission to get back the NXT tag titles, and they are revoking their rematch clause at TakeOver Brooklyn, which will be an exceptional matchup. Then we get EC3 versus the finest Kona Reeves. Again, another back and forth, just showing what they can do. EC3 just hitting moves out the get-go. I mean, he's hitting him with a running boot. He hits him with the running neck breaker, kind of like the Moonlight Drive that John Morrison used to do, and what Sonny Siaki, for those who remember Sonny Siaki, used to do, the Siakalypse, and Damian Sandow incorporated that into his moveset as well. Kona Reeves has the Cobra Clutch, EC3 with the arm drag. Reeves gets to the floor, and then EC3 with the couple jabs, and then the clothesline. Then the running forearm and the swinging neck breaker, like I mentioned. Then the Velveteen Dream. His music hits, and he distracts EC3. The Velveteen Dream says he wants to get something straight. There is someone in the building who cannot get over Royal Albert Hall. EC3, do you want to talk about it? They can talk about it, and you may be able to bask in the ambiance and the experience. Dream leaves, snaps his finger, by the way, which was cool, because let me get the NXT logo back after the Velveteen Dream entrance. Kona Reeves hits a Samoan drop, which they call the Hawaiian drop for the near fall. Then Kona Reeves says something to EC3, taunts him. Pretty much says that he's the finest, and that allows EC3 to hit the 1%er, formerly known as the TK3, for the 1-2-3, and EC3 is your victor. Then we go backstage, and EC3 is asked about Velveteen Dream's challenge. He says that he just beat the finest, and he will join Dream in his experience, and that the conversation will turn into a fight. He's the best guy here, there, everywhere, the BEE of NXT. EC3 and Velveteen Dream, it's going down. That brings us to Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler in a non-title matchup, and my God, this match was great. Shayna working over the arm, Candice coming back with a springboard. It looked like a jawbreaker, a tornado DDT. The Karafuda clutch after, Candice was going up top. It looked for like a swinging neckbreaker type maneuver, but then, there's a rope break, then Candice hits an inside cradle for near fall, then Candice misses a kick, and Shayna with a dragon suplex, but Candice with a double stomp in the unprettier. She goes for the lion salt. But Shayna, misses, hits her with the knee, puts her right back into that Karafuda clutch. Candice has to tap out, and my oh my, was that a great matchup. Then Baszler, after the match, Baszler applies the Karafuda clutch, and the referee cannot pull Shayna off of Candice. Then other officials come to the ring until Kairi Sane comes to the ring, but she's held back from Shayna Baszler. That enhances more into the Kairi Sane Shayna Baszler matchup at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Sane checks on LeRae and then allows Baszler to kick Sane from behind, and then Sane has to be held back until Baszler leaves. Mustache Mountain's in the back, and they're pretty much saying that they don't need any tricks and that they're going to take back the titles. And Trent says what happened at Royal Albert Hall. Trent says that what happened at Royal Albert Hall, will not happen at the Barclays Center. Will happen at the Barclays Center. What the hell's wrong with me? That they're going to win the tag titles. Duh. That will happen at the Barclays Center. Sorry, folks, I got a little tongue-tied. So they're going to win the tag titles back. Then here comes the War Raiders. And they show up, and Hansen says that it does not matter who leaves TakeOver as the tag champs because they are taking the titles and they will destroy anyone in their way. Then William Regal announces that EC3 and Velveteen Dream will face each other at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, and Ricochet will challenge Adam Cole, baby, for the NXT North American Heavyweight Championship at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn as well. And then we find out that next week Ricochet will be in action, and we get the debut of former Ring of Honor superstar and a very hot commodity on the independent circuit. Mr. Keith Lee is making his NXT debut next week. Then Tommaso Ciampa comes out. The sleigh of booze, the woman saying you will lose your title, the girl screaming at him, the old woman saying he has a small penis, implying that with, Tommaso Ciampa running her down, saying that I'm the NXT champion and you doubted me, and Ciampa was just great. And of course Johnny Gargano fails, and now 2A and 2B, Gargano in black. It was just amazing, and that he's the guy of NXT. It's the A show, and that he's the greatest sports entertainer of all time, and this is my NXT and I'm your NXT champion. Tommaso Ciampa is is amazing at what he does. Great heel. Aleister Black comes out, not wasting any time. He's ready to fight. Johnny Gargano rushes past him and takes Ciampa down in the ring. Gargano forces Ciampa out of the ring, but Ciampa has his title belt, escapes through the crowd. Gargano tells Ciampa that this is not his NXT as long as Gargano is breathing, and you're only champ because of him. Then Gargano turns around and gets a black mass kick from Aleister Black, which rightfully so, because he has a grudge, because Ciampa and Gargano, their whole feud, and Gargano accidentally hitting him with the belt cost Aleister Black his championship, so rightfully so. And then Black takes the mic and he sits down next to Gargano and he says, Johnny is right. Ciampa is champion because of you. Great feel, great drama, and just, I'm looking forward to where this progresses, which I'm sure we're going to probably get a triple threat at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And that was your NXT. A solid week for action this week. I gotta say, NXT was the show this week. No disrespect for the 205 Live, because there was some great in-ring action there. But NXT was the show this week. Enhanced a lot in both shows, and just, again, another great weekend. This will conclude episode 6 of The Future Is Now. Follow RWT on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And just, again, thank you guys as always for listening. I'll talk to you guys next week for episode 7 of The Future Is Now 205 NXT. And to repeat myself and just to reiterate, the future is now. Everyone have a great night.